Welcome to Flawless Conversations. I'm Tamika Jones, and today we're diving into how mindset can shift your life, your confidence, your purpose. You're watching Now Media Television. Welcome to Flawless Conversations. I am your host, Tamika Jones, and today we're talking about something so many people dream of doing: writing a book that changes lives. But for most people, fear stands in the way of sharing their story. Joining me today is Coach Rosie Thames, a best-selling book expert, author, success coach, and the founder of Coach Rosie's Empire. She's helped countless authors turn their stories into influence, income, and impact, with some earning over $30,000 in just 3 months. Rosie, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Flawless Conversations. So let's dive right in. Many aspiring authors never start because of the fear. That fear convinces them that their story isn't valuable enough. Let's explore how to silence the self-doubt. Start small and believe in the power of one's own voice, even before the book is even finished. So Rosie, what is the very first fear you see in men and women that stops them from even starting?
That's a great question, Tamika. So even for myself and a lot of my authors that I've worked with, the fear that we have to overcome when it comes to telling our story is the fear of being judged. It's always, I don't know what people are gonna think about me. I don't know if they're gonna judge me on my story, because some of our stories are nasty, it's messy, it's, it's shameful, right?
Right.
And so you are thinking, or you and I are thinking, what are others gonna say? And we have to get past that, because in the midst of the mess, there's a message in it, and we have to find the lesson in the story, in the disappointment, so that other people can learn from our experiences. So that's the first thing that I would say to overcome, is that fear of judgment. Who cares what people say? You have a story, you have a lesson, and people need to hear that. People need to know, how did you get through that moment? And how are you the person you are today, right? Building your empire, living life, living your best life. That's what people want to know, because they're seeing themselves in your story and seeing themselves as a hero because you have overcome.
That judgment, right? I think we all struggle with that one point in our lives, feeling judged by people.
Absolutely.
And then two, writing a book, you're being vulnerable, right? Because you're writing from the heart, right? You're writing from the heart. So yeah. So how do you help someone move from I'm not good enough to I can begin with what I love?
It's a matter of belief. Believing in yourself and believing in your story. So, I mean, a lot of people struggle with the imposter syndrome,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Who does that? Who has a struggle with that?
Right.
But it's knowing that first you got to believe in yourself and your story. I remember when I started this journey as an author, as a writer, and a publisher, trust me, I didn't believe in my story. I didn't believe anybody cared about what I had to say, much less my story had power and influence, right? And so a friend of mine called me up one day and she's like, Rosie, oh my gosh, I've been following you on social media. You've been sharing things about your life's journey, and it really inspires me. Of course, I was going through some challenging times. I lost my mom. She was 56 years old, lost her from cancer. My husband was dealing with chronic health issues, kidney failure, having to go through a transplant as well. So there was a lot of stuff that I had to deal with, and I was sharing those moments on social media, and I didn't know that people would really taking heed to what I was saying. And so she called me, she's like, I'm so inspired by your story. Why don't you consider being part of a book collaboration? I didn't know that you can be a part of a book collaboration. Furthermore, she said anthology. I didn't know what an anthology was. I'm like, antholo what?
What is that?
And she's like, yeah, you could share a chapter in a book and tell your story. And I was blown away by that concept. And so I got the details, and I did what I was told, fulfill the requirements, wrote my chapter, 2,500 words. So simple, so easy, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of times people think it's hard. It's hard to tell my story. It's hard to write a book. It is not. And that's another thing that the mindset that we have to shift.
Absolutely.
It is not hard to do it. You just got to get help, right? And have the right tools, the right strategies, and the right platform to do so. So that's what I did. I believed in my story. And not only that, I had to borrow somebody else's belief before I believed in my story. So sometimes you may not believe in yourself. You may not believe in your own story. But the fact that somebody else believes in you and your story, you can borrow that belief until you actually believe it yourself.
I like that. Borrow that belief.
Yes.
And sometimes, like you said, we just have to do that.
Yes.
Right? I remember when I wrote my first book, Riding the Waves to Self-Confidence. Rosie, I struggled, right? Being vulnerable, all the things that you're talking about. That imposter syndrome, right? That kicks in, and who are you, Tamika, to write a book, right? Who are you? Who are you?
Voice.
And we have to tell ourselves, I am me, right? I am who I say I am, right?
That's right.
I have the power. God lives within me, right? I have the power to write and own my story, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was very powerful for me to get out of my own way.
Well, congratulations on writing your
Thank
book.
you.
And being vulnerable.
Yes.
And telling your story.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes.
I do high fives.
Oh, fives. Love it. So what daily ritual or small habit keeps writers moving despite that doubt or that imposter syndrome and all the things, right? What daily habit or ritual that you do that you can give the audience tips?
What daily ritual that I do? One of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis is to reflect on the message, on my story, on my experience, and learn the lesson. So it's all about reflection and taking note of what the experience was for me and what I can learn from it. And if I can learn something from it, then I can share it with somebody else and give them the lesson. So it's something that I practice even with my kids at home. They're like my experiment, like we're in the lab.
Yeah.
And so whatever I have learned from a previous experience, I will share that with them. When it comes to writing though, what I tell people is this: if you could write 250 words on Facebook, and that's a social media post. If you can do that, if you can go on social media and write a post, you can write a book. Because if you write 250 words every day for 7 days, that's 1,750 words. That's a chapter to a book.
Ooh, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That's a chapter in an anthology. So that's part of it right there. You're already ahead of the game. If you do that for 30 days, you will have a full book.
Full book.
7 to 12 chapters.
Oh, it's amazing.
80,000 words or more. So that's a daily ritual that I would say is just take note of your experience, write it down. If everyone has time, 250 words a day, you will have a book in less than 30 days.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? Are you listening? You got your pen and paper out? This is good stuff, Rosie. Oh,
that's the formula. That's what I told my clients.
Awesome. So don't go anywhere. Coming up next, Rosie shares how to take your book from dream to done by publishing, all without the overwhelm. Stay tuned for more Flawless Conversations. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours, and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tamika Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. Want more of what you're watching? Stay connected to Flawless Conversations and every Now Media favorite TV show, live or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or iOS and unlock non-stop bilingual programming in Spanish and English. You can also catch the podcast version right from our website at www.nowmedia.tv. From business and wellness to mindset and empowerment, Now Media TV is available around the clock, ready whenever you are. Welcome back. We're here with Coach Rosie Thames talking about how to turn your story into a published book without drowning in the details. For so many aspiring authors, the process feels so overwhelming. Rosie, where does that overwhelm usually come from, and where does it start, right? Where do you see it start with some of the people you work with?
So when it comes to writing and publishing a book, the overwhelm comes from not knowing where to start, not knowing what to do.
Yes.
I remember that moment. I remember when I was getting ready to retire the military, and when I was contemplating about telling my story, and I didn't know what to do. I thought you had to be a celebrity actually to write a book,
Right.
Like, okay, you got to be like Joyce Meyer, Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes,
Yes,
those famous people. And thinking about the process overwhelmed me. I'm like, I can't do this. This is too much. And then you're thinking it may be too expensive. You have to write, you have to take forever, 5 years maybe, to write a book. Like, I didn't know. So that was very overwhelming for me.
Yes.
Not knowing. And so that's what keeps a lot of people crippled. Even my clients today, they think it has to take, like, they have to get up every day, spend 8 to 12 hours to write. No, you don't. There are strategies, there are tips, there are systems in place to help you get that book out quickly, okay, in a month or less. So that's what it is.
Okay.
People just overthink the process and they don't have the details.
Also, Rosie, let's talk about perfectionism, right? Because sometimes people think that it has to be perfect, right? It has to be this perfect 12-chapter novel, right? Let's talk about that. So, have you seen where some of your clients started writing a book and just was too overwhelmed because of the whole perfectionism, right?
All the time. All the time. That's a big thing. The perfectionism. Perfectionism kills progress.
Yes.
All the time. And so what I tell them is it's progress over perfection.
Yes. Say it again.
So
can you say that again?
Progress over perfection. Progress over perfection, y'all. Listen, all you got to do is get your story out. In the beginning phase, when I'm working with my clients, I tell them it's just brain dump. It doesn't matter what order it's in. You just have to get that story out of your head on paper, right? There's a process to this thing. I was going to say madness, but
it's not a madness.
But there's a process to this thing, to this method.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right? You get the story out. It's not perfect, right? You get it down on paper, and then it moves to another phase where it's perfected with the editing phase, right? Because it has to be polished, it has to be refined, it has to make sense for the reader. But that's not your job in the beginning. So get rid of that thought process. It has to be perfect, because you'll never get it done if you're thinking about perfection.
Absolutely. So just start. Just do it. Like
Just
Nike,
start.
right? Just do it. Just do it. How can someone break the publishing process into manageable steps to just get it done?
Okay, so for me, I'm just gonna talk about how I did it.
Okay.
I got help, y'all.
Yes.
It's just simple. Like, if you try to do it on your own, it is going to be hard. It's going to take a long time. You're going to get frustrated and you're gonna give up.
Yes.
For me, it was finding somebody who has already been there and having them help me, giving me the tools and the strategies. So what does that process looks like? The writing phase, right? Crafting out time to write. It doesn't have to be an hour, 2 hours. It's like 10, 15 minutes. And what I tell people, Tamika, use your devices, use your tools. On your phone, you have a voice recorder, right? It records your voice and then it types out what it is that you're saying. That is a beautiful tool to use that's going to save you time. I'm in my car and something pop up in my head like, oh my gosh, I need to put that in a book. You know what I do? I hit that button on my, I do the memo in my phone, in my iPhone, and I hit that mic and I start talking, right? So now I'm driving. Now I'm able to talk what my idea is about, and it's typing it. Simple as that. So that's the writing phase.
Nice.
You do that on the go. And then what I tell people, my clients, I tell them, in addition to that, in addition to writing, start thinking about your audience. Start thinking about what do you want them to get from your book. Your book is not for you. It's for your readers. So you think about, what message do I want to convey? What lessons do I want them to learn? So these are the things that you have to think about. Who your audience is, what's in it for them, what's in it for you, and then you start to write that book. But the biggest thing of all is getting help. Don't do it alone. Don't do it by yourself.
And I totally agree. And that reminds me too, with that getting help, what you talked about. When I retired from the military, I think we're both military, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So when I retired from the military, I hired a life coach, right? Because I got out the military, lost, trying to find my identity, because we've been in the military for so long. That's all we know, right? Is the military. So going through that phase, I hired a life coach, right? Someone to help me, right? To unpack all the crap that I had, stored away in my suitcase, right? She not only helped me unpack it, but she walked with me to that garbage can and on the side of the street, right? And closed the lid, and she helped me to walk in my future, right? And my purpose. So that's the same, what you were saying along the same lines, is to get help. Get help, right? Get help writing that book. Get help, right? Because like Rosie said, it's not about you. It's about the people you're relaying, or the people that you're trying to impact, right? Greater purpose. Greater purpose with that book. I love that.
Greater purpose.
I love it. What kind of roadmap or timeline keeps the process stress-free?
So my process, everybody else have their own processes, but my process, what I do is give my clients a 9-month journey with their book.
So 9 months.
So it's like giving birth.
Okay, 9 months. I love that concept. I love it.
It's a 9-month process. It can be done sooner, but a lot of people that I work with, they are mothers, they are career women.
Yes.
They're busy people. And that's one of the things that hold people back is, do I have time? Yes, you do. And it is built, this process, my techniques is built around people that are busy individuals.
Yes.
So what I tell them is, okay, 9 months, you have 9 months to complete this process of writing and publishing your book. And the first 3 months is the writing phase. So that's where we dump everything. We get all the story, everything that's needed, the content for the book. Then the next 3 to 6 months is the editing and formatting phase. And then the 6 to 9 month is where we focus on promotion, marketing, and publishing.
Okay.
So I break it up in 3 months increments to make it manageable and easy and light for the clients.
First trimester, second trimester,
I know, right?
I love that.
Yeah, so you're giving birth, right, to this resource, to this book. So yes, I use that timeline, and it works. It works wonderfully.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So you see, you could get a book done in less than a year.
Yes. And become a bestseller as well.
Oh, yes. And that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes. So what support systems, editors, coaches, communities make the process of publishing a little more smoother?
All of the above. All of the above. So I talk about seeking help, right? Getting a coach to help you. There's such thing as a book coach, which that's what I am,
that's
right?
That's what you do.
An author success coach.
Yes.
Somebody wants to write a book, but they want it to be a great book, a great resource, right? And they want it to make an impact you don't know how to do it, get help, seek help first and foremost. Of course, you're going to need someone to edit that book, to refine what you've written, to make sure it's polished and the reader can understand what is being relayed, what's being said in the book, right? Because one of the things that I've learned is never tell a story without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story.
Can you repeat that for us? I like that.
Yes, never tell a story without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story. Because what's the point? What's the point in doing that, right?
Right.
Like, why are you telling me that story? What's the reason in you writing this book? What's the lesson?
The impact.
So the impact.
Yes.
So that's the point. And then when you're making a point, a story add dynamite to it. It makes it more powerful and understandable.
Yes.
So that's one of the framework I work with and I teach my clients. But yes, you're gonna need the coach, you're gonna need the editor, you're gonna need someone to format your book, and a community is great. You know, I'm building a community of authors right now that, you know, they want to birth this book, and what I do with my authors, I put them as accountability partners with each other.
Yes.
So you're on this journey together. You know that you have your fellow aspiring author that wants to birth this book. You're going to help each other to get it out, and so that nobody is left behind, because life be lifing, right?
Yes.
Life be lifing.
Yes.
And sometimes things happen. I had a client that during the process of writing his book, he had an accident. And that kind of delayed the process a little bit, and that's understandable. But when you have someone there to hold your hand, to hold you accountable, you know, they're going to be like, okay, girl, I understand life is life, but now it's time to get back up and finish this goal, finish this thing that you started. So I would say every piece of that, the community, the coaching, the editor, the formatter, that's the team that you need to help you with your book.
And I love that. I love that, having that accountability partner. And that's what we had in the military: battle buddy, wingman, all the things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Rosie, your strategies make publishing journey sound so doable and empowering. Where can viewers connect with you if they're ready to take the next step forward in publishing their book?
So you can find me on my Instagram page, The Best-Selling Book Expert, or on Facebook as Rosie Thames. I'm also on LinkedIn as Rosie Thames. And I'm starting to get over in that TikTok world, you know, but it's Coach Rosie Inspires on TikTok as well. So that's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Thank you. So stay with us. Up next, Rosie shares the secret to writing stories that connect deeply and reaches the hearts and minds. So go grab that cup of coffee, but make sure you come right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours, and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tamika Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. I'm your host, Tamika Jones, and we're here with Coach Rosie, discussing one of the most important parts of authorship, storytelling that moves people. Because writing isn't just about information, it's about that divine connection. And too often, authors write safe, surface-level stories that don't move the readers. Authentic storytelling requires vulnerability, as we talked about earlier, purpose and trust, and the courage to reveal truth that heals, inspires, and connects. So Rosie, how do you help authors share real emotion, true, authentic, and depth in their writings?
Well, basically, you just got to be real and raw with your story as much as you can. So one of the things that I teach, and I have learned this through storytelling myself, is standing on your story, not in your story. So
can you repeat
what does that mean?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Yes. So standing on your story, that means you have overcome. Now you're on the other side. You're not buried in the weight of emotions and you're not in that storm, right?
Right.
So it's better to tell your story from that angle than when you're in it, because you see differently. So, but being authentic is what is going to bring that connection to your audience and your clients or whoever it is that you're writing the book for. And so being true to your story, not being in it in the midst of the storm, in the midst of that story, but standing on it and being authentic and not trying to be like somebody else when you're telling your story. For example, I'm gonna use me. Okay, I'm Jamaican, and you may say like, Rosie, where's your accent? But it's there.
I hear it. It pops
you hear
out.
it a little
I hear
bit,
it.
right? And so, in the past, I hid all of that. I hid my Jamaican culture, the accent, and everything. And so people would call me out for that. Like, Rosie, I didn't know you're Jamaican. Like, you're Jamaican. Even they call me a Jamaican. And afterwards, I was like, no, when I'm telling my story, I'm going to bring all of me to the surface. I'm going to bring all of me to my readers. And so they get to experience who Rosie really is. And so I would say, be authentic. There's a way to tell your story where you're raw and real without it being trauma dumping. And so that's where I have to guide my clients. And even as I share my own story, I have to be mindful, like, what am I doing when I'm telling my story and how much I'm sharing? Because you don't want to trauma dump. You want to make sure you're telling it in a way where it's going to help others heal and benefit from that.
Yes, I agree. And just thinking about what you just said, I had an honor of collaborating on an anthology, Rising Through the Pain, which is a bestseller.
Awesome, congrats.
Yes, and like you said, making it impactful. And my chapter was about rising through the pain. It was about me losing my daughter, right? So I talked about me losing it, the lessons, right? And then I gave the readers a scripture, right, to go through, right? Like when they're going through it, right? Something that they can take away from it. So not just dumping pain and trauma, but also inspiring others to go to whoever go through losing someone, how to get through it.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's the purpose, right? That's
the
purpose and passion, right, behind it all.
Because you learned the lesson. You learned the lesson, and now you're sharing it with other people that are going to go through the same thing.
Yes. So how can someone find their authentic voice so it stands out from the crowd, right? Because everyone, I think on social media, you hear and you see everyone trying to be like someone else, right? So how to find your voice and continue to be authentic while finding your voice and while writing the book?
So how do you find that voice? That voice is within you. That voice is something that you were born with, right? And so it's not about finding it. It's always been there.
Yes. Yes.
But what happened is we let other things distract us and yes, our environment. We let other things take us away from our true voice, our true self. So we have to get back to that grounding, that foundation. Like, who am I?
Yes.
What am I here to do? What's my purpose? And show up as that person.
Yes.
Not watching everybody else on social media and what they're doing. Just show up as you, right? And just be that person. Nobody is perfect. And one of the things I talk about is, even with my dialect from Jamaica, sometimes I'm talking and you'll hear a little bit of patois. It's broken English, right?
Right.
And you'll think that, oh, I have to be standard and speak, the standard English. No, you don't.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be that person. Just be you. Express yourself, communicate effectively to your audience, and people are going to resonate. Let me tell you something. I've seen on social media, I've watched videos, and the people with a lot of views don't sound polished. They don't sound like they, and I don't want to say it like this, but sometimes you hear people and you're like, okay, they don't sound too intelligent, but guess what? they're telling a story and people resonate.
Right.
And they're capturing people's attention.
Right.
That's what it is. Why are we over here afraid of being in front of a camera and talking to people because we're, we don't know how they're going to judge us? While there are other people out there just being themselves,
Speaking, yeah.
telling their story, and they're getting millions of views.
Right.
We just have to let go of that mindset. So your voice is within you. Just let it out. Unleash that voice and dominate with your story. The world is waiting for that story. So
yes, those fears, right? We have to get past them. And mine was public speaking. I feared public speaking. Oh, I'm just an introvert. I made up excuses. Oh, I'm just this. Oh, I'm just that. Oh, I even joined Toastmasters a couple times.
Too.
And yeah, so just getting out there doing it and do it scared if you have to, but just start somewhere. Just start, right? And like you said, mindset is key, right? Speak and affirm those things as if you are, right? And it's biblical because you are. You have to speak those things over your life.
I like the fact that you said Toastmasters because that's actually how I found my voice. See, you helped me remember how I started this journey because like you, I was terrified of public speaking. I was so afraid. And so I decided that, you know what? I'm just going to face my fear. I'm just going to do it messy. I'm going to fall
and who's to say it's messy, right? Who's to say it's messy?
That's right.
Who's to say it's perfect? Who's to say that, right? It's your voice, your story, your speech.
Exactly. But what I can say is the more you do it, the better you become.
Yes, the confident builds, right?
Yes. The more you do it, the better you become. And that's how, and to go back to the question, just to make sure I bring it back full circle, it is you find your voice by using it.
Yes, you do. Yes.
You find your voice by using it. The more you speak, the more you use that voice, the more you share your story, that's how you're going to find it. That's how it's going to come out. So that's what I would tell people.
Yes. Yes, and a lot of times we make it about us, and it's not about us, right? When we get out of our feelings and our emotions, right, and start thinking about others and how the impact that we can have on others, that's when the voice begins to dominate the audience. So that's when the voice takes. Yes.
Unleash it.
Yes. Rosie, how can you balance vulnerability with healthy boundaries in storytelling? Or how do you balance vulnerability with?
Yes, that's a very tricky one. Because while you really want to share your story, you have to use wisdom as well, right?
Right.
You have to use wisdom in how much you're going to tell. And remember what I said, standing on your story and not in it. So the key here is, have I learned the lesson? That's the key. When you're telling a story, when you're being vulnerable, you have to think, have I learned the lesson yet? And if you haven't learned the lesson, maybe you don't want to tell that story right now, but tell the story that you have overcome and you have learned that lesson. And not trauma dumping as well, right? Because you don't want to go in front of an audience, or you don't want to write a book and just start talking about your problems, all the things that you've been through. Like, why are you doing that?
Right.
After you tell your story, then you talk about, now I am this person. Now I overcame because I took care of myself, self-care. I sought help. I did this, that, whatever, the strategies, right? So these are the things that we have to be mindful of when we share our story, and being vulnerable, being real, being raw. And I love to hear a true story, a raw story where, somebody been through a divorce and it got really ugly, but then they overcame.
Yes.
Whether the relationship got back together or they're now this powerhouse individual building an empire, right? Whatever it is that they're doing. That's what it is. You're being vulnerable, but at the same time, you're telling people, like, listen, I share this piece of me with you because I want you to see that even though you are so broken, you can now build yourself back up, and you can become the better you, the better version of yourself, and you can help other people to do the same.
Yes. And that's just like that, what is that quote? Life happened for us, not to us.
Yeah.
Right.
So life happens for us, not to us.
Right.
Yes.
As you could, like you were saying, you're writing a book and you putting all your vulnerability, in this book. But then what? What's the impact? What's behind all this trauma that you've gone through, and how have you grown, right?
Yes.
Because that's
Yes.
ultimately what we want to show, in the book, is that we've gone through whatever obstacles, setbacks, childhood trauma, right,
Yes.
that you've gone through, right? So this is good stuff, Rosie. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Awesome.
Coming up, Rosie shares how to make your story live long after your book ends, and how to turn your message into a lasting legacy. We'll be right back. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours, and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tamika Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. Don't miss a second of this show or any of your favorite Now Media TV shows, live or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Grab the free Now Media TV app on Roku or iOS and enjoy instant access to our lineup of bilingual programming in English and Espanol. Prefer the podcast? Listen to Flawless Conversations anytime on Now Media TV website at www.nowmedia.tv. Covering business, lifestyle, and inspiration, Now Media TV is available 24/7, bringing you real stories and real transformation. So as we close today's episode, we're diving into what happens after the book is written. For many authors, the goal isn't just publishing a book. It's about creating a legacy that lasts. And Coach Rosie has helped countless people turn their message into a movement. So Rosie, how do you help ensure a book becomes a movement and not just a product?
That's a great question. I was doing a master class last night, and what blew a lot of the audience minds were the business aspect, not just writing a book, but what your book can do for you, right? We know that when we write a book, our book is going to outlast us. It's going to outlive us. Long after we're gone, people are going to pick up that book and read our stories. But what else can it do for you and your brand and your business, especially as entrepreneurs, right? What can a book do for you? It can position you as an expert in your field. It can position you as the authority in your niche. And so a lot of times when I'm helping my clients to write a book, I ask them, and I mentioned this earlier, what do you want out of the book? What is this book going to do for you and your readers, right? But as we talk about legacy, it's making an impact in the lives of many people. People are going to remember the imprint and the impact that you made on their lives because of your story and because of the resource that you provide, you produce, and give to this world. So, like you mentioned, the book is not just a product, it's a resource. First and foremost, you got to think about it as that somebody's going to pick up your book and they're going to learn something. They're going to learn a process. They're going to learn a strategy. They're going to learn a lesson. So that's a legacy right there in itself. And then for you, writing that book is going to give you more exposure, more visibility. And what's going to happen are those opportunities that you never seen coming. I had a client, and I'm going to share this. I had a client that wrote her book about her experience as a South Sudanese refugee. And that book created such an uproar in her country, not just community, her entire country. In that country, they still do what's called arranged marriages with young teenage girls with older men. And so because of her story and it getting so much attention worldwide, she was able to change laws in her country, in certain areas in her country. She was able to meet high officials in her country, the vice president. But one of the things that really excited me is the opportunity she got from an organization. She was able to teach a 3-day workshop and they paid her $25,000 for 3 days. These are the opportunities that you get from your book. People are watching you. People are taking note of what you're doing and how you're impacting people, and the lives that you're changing and the message that you're putting out in this world. And so they're gonna now look at you as that thought leader, and they want your message to their audience. So there's so many opportunities that you can get from just your single book. You're talking about writing a course, becoming a coach, a consultant, a speaker, a paid professional speaker. I mean, the opportunities are truly endless. So you're building a movement when you write a book.
Yeah, because you can take your passion, right, and turn it into profits and purpose.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Yeah. You can take whatever you enjoy doing, finding that your purpose and passion in life, and writing a book and helping others along the way. So that's some good stuff. That's powerful.
Yes.
Powerful. Rosie, what systems or strategies sustain influence, like courses, community, or consistent branding?
Say that again.
What systems or strategies sustain influence, like courses, community, consistent branding? I know you talked about a community you're building.
Right. So yes, I would say there's several things that impact or sustain influence. And it is staying rooted in a community that you're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to get the accountability, right? We talked about that earlier. People are going to hold you accountable. I'm in an amazing community right now. And I mean, when I tell you that the growth, the level of growth that I have achieved over the past year, and I've watched my colleagues grown as a business owner, it is amazing. I'm talking about people that started with nothing and now they're building 6-figure businesses, right? So community is great, right? You being a part of a community, but also you building a community. And one of the beautiful things about writing a book and being a part of an anthology is that you are building community. I use an anthology, and that's my favorite book to write, y'all. Being a visionary author will help you to get people to be a part of your vision. And so you invite people to share their story in your book. And from that, because you built that relationship, like I mentioned, it's a 9-month process to do to produce a book of this magnitude, right?
To birth the book, I'm sorry.
To birth the book, right? You like that one?
I like that.
You like that
yes.
one? So it's a 9-month process to birth the book. People are now working with you at a high level. They're getting to like, know, and trust you, right? And so now they're looking for more. How do I work with you at a higher level? So you write the book, and now you're helping them to do the same thing with their solo project, to help them build their community by doing the same thing that you help them to do with yours. So it's a full circle effect.
Yes, I'm speechless, but yes, so amazing. What mindset helps authors see their book as the beginning, not the finish line?
What mindset
helps authors to see their book as the beginning and not the finish line?
I mentioned this before. It's the legacy that you're leaving.
The legacy,
It's the legacy.
Yes.
So your book is going to outlive you.
Yes.
So you write that book and you put it out in the world, and you don't know that your book is in Africa. You don't know your book is in England. You don't know that your book is in another country, and people are reading it, right, and being impacted by it. You don't know that that's going to be your next breakthrough in the opportunity that comes from your book. So when you write a book, it's creating a ripple effect.
Yes.
It's not a one and done. I wrote Woman Rise in 2023. I'm still that book is still making impact. I'm still hearing people, reaching out to me and, hey, Rosie, your stories and the stories in this book has impacted my life. How can I be a part of the next anthology? So it's a never ending, deal. It's always coming back, always bringing more opportunities. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. Because mindset is key, right? Mindset is key. So what we think about, right, becomes our reality.
Yes.
What we think, right, and we start to feel and put the emotions with it, and then we take action, and now actions basically shape our reality, right? So we have to, with writing a book and with anything in life, we have to believe that we could write it, right, and believe that it's going to be impactful, and know it, right, and stand on it.
Stand on your story, not in your story.
Not in your story. Love it, love it. Can you say it one more time? Say it one more time.
Yes. So don't stand in your story. Stand on your story.
On your story.
That's your power stand. So just think about your power stand.
There we go. Yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it.
On my story.
So Rosie, on Flawless Conversations, we give the audience a flawless nugget and a flawless fact. So a flawless fact, can you give them something about yourself? Tell them something about yourself. It could be personal. It could be something funny, just more about Rosie. We want to know about Rosie.
Ooh, like, wow.
A flawless fact.
You didn't prepare me for that. It's hard for people to talk about themselves.
I know, but you're all the things. Brilliant.
So y'all know, I did mention I'm from Jamaica.
Yes,
yes. Born and raised 20 years. So I moved here to the United States in 2000. And yeah, so this is the funny part, right? I came here very 1920, and I moved to New York in the middle of the winter.
Oh.
What a culture shock. And then I joined the military 6 months later. Like, who does that?
Who does that? Right. Oh my goodness.
But here I am, 20-something years later. I love it.
Nice. And then a flawless nugget, something the audience can take with them, right? Put in their back pocket and use whenever they're going through any type of contrast, anything negative, or just can pull out anytime, anywhere, and use.
Well, as we talk about book and story, I want you to know this. Your story is somebody else's survival guide. Your story is a solution to someone's problems.
Yes.
So don't keep your story to yourself. Share it, because somebody's life could be saved from you telling your story.
Yes. And Rosie, where can the audience find you if they want to connect with you?
You can connect with me on social media. So we talk about Instagram at the Bestselling Book Expert, on Facebook, Rosie Thames, LinkedIn, the same name, Rosie Thames. And you can also reach me at coachrosiethames.com or my Gmail, coachrosiethames@gmail.com.
Rosie, thank you for sharing your brilliance, your authenticity, and your passion for helping others turn pain into passion. To our viewers, remember this: your story isn't just words on a page. It's the seed of legacy. The moment you decide to share it, you begin rewriting not your life, but the lives of others. I'm Tamika Jones, and this has been Flawless Conversations on Now Media TV, where real women and men share real stories to inspire fearless growth. Until next time, keep shining, keep sharing, and keep living flawlessly.